Okay, thank you very much. Welcome for our lesson. So on the lesson, it is Mr. Omar Sifuna. Last time, we were talking about nutritional needs for special groups. And when we talk of special groups, we have identified the people who are termed as special groups, pregnant mothers, lactating mothers, infants, people surviving with different diseases. Those are special groups. So in our previous lesson, I remember we discussed about nutritional needs for a pregnant mother. Now, after discussing about nutritional needs for a pregnant mother, today we are introducing nutritional needs for a lactating mother or a nursing mother. Now, first of all, we have to understand who is a lactating mother. The other name of a lactating mother is a nursing mother, or we can say breastfeeding mother. Now, who is this type of a mother? A lactating mother or a breastfeeding mother is a mother or a woman who has already given birth and is breastfeeding her child. A breastfeeding or a lactating mother is a woman who has already given birth and is breastfeeding her child. Now, a lactating mother, when you are breastfeeding your child, it means the lactating mother should feed well to ensure milk has adequate nutrients. That milk which is supplied to the child, you understand immediately after birth, the child depends on the mother's milk. So the mother should feed well to ensure that that milk has adequate nutrients to supply to the child. So what are some of the nutrients that are required by the lactating mother? Some of the nutrients required are here. Number one, a lactating mother should feed on a balanced diet. What do we mean by a balanced diet? We mean that the rule of three. Balanced diet, we have the rule of three. The rule of three means proteins. We have carbohydrates. We have vitamins. A nursing mother should feed on a balanced diet, which means the food given to a mother in a day should have proteins, carbohydrates, and vitamins. Rule of three, which means bodybuilding food, energy-giving foods, and protective foods must be in her diet. Number two, breastfeeding mother should eat extra fluids for milk production. You understand breastfeeding is just production of milk in the breast. So the mother should have the feeds she is using must have extra fluids for milk production so that the mother is having enough milk to breastfeed the child. Number three, we have it should include rich in iron. You understand iron is a mineral which forms hemoglobin in the blood, that is transportation of oxygen in the body. So formation of blood, that food should have rich in iron to make sure that it is replacing that blood which was lost during childbirth. During maturation, you find that the mother can lose a lot of blood. So the feeds, after she has given birth, the feed she is using must have a lot of iron to make sure that the blood which was lost during maturation is now replaced by that iron. Lastly, it should also include minerals like calcium and phosphorus. You understand, minerals like calcium and phosphorus are very important when it comes to the formation of strong teeth and bones for both mother and also the baby. That milk should also have calcium and phosphorus because it is in the diet of the mother. Whatever the mother feeds goes to the milk directly, and that is what the child feeds on. Now, that is now how you should feed a lactating or a nursing mother. We have already explained the meaning of this. This is also one of the special group or which needs special foods or diet. Now, I am moving to the third group. We have already discussed about pregnant mothers. Today we have talked about lactating mothers or breastfeeding mothers. And now I am moving to infants. Nutritional requirements for infants. Nutritional requirements for infants. Okay. Who is an infant? Nutritional requirement for an infant. Who is an infant? You understand that when the child is born, basically depends on breast milk. So an infant is a child who is below 2 years. The main food for an infant is breast milk. So it is still connected to lactating mother. We don't have a very big difference between an infant and a mother, because lactating mother, because an infant is now that child who is below 2 years, and now is only depending on breast milk. Now, when you talk of an infant, this is another very special group. When you are nursing a child who is 2 years, you are supposed to take special care to such a person. How will you take such a care? Now, before I move on, let me define an infant first. An infant is a child who is below 2 years. An infant is a baby or a child who is below 2 years. Now, when we talk about an infant, before the child comes out, before the child is born, it depends on the mother's food through the placenta. You discussed that one in your first unit. But the moment the child comes out, now the placenta is not there. It will only depend on the mother's breast milk. Now, how should you feed the baby who is an infant? After birth, the baby is mainly fed on the mother's milk before weaning. The baby depends on the mother's milk, before weaning. Okay, very important. Immediately we have said before the child is born, it depends on nutrients from the mother through the placenta. But immediately the child comes out, it now starts depending on the mother through the breast milk. Now, we say the child, an infant is a child who is below 2 years. But now, what is the meaning of this terminology that has come in? Weaning. The child the child depends on the mother's milk before weaning. What is the meaning of weaning? We said the child is born, and between the first to the fourth month, the child basically depends on the mother's milk alone, and the mother's milk is having all the required nutrients and they are standard. Now, after 4 months, you find that the mother starts introducing solid foods gradually. That introduction of solid foods like porridge, tea, and other foods which are soft is what we call weaning. Now, you have understood the meaning of this terminology, weaning. We have said that this is the gradual introduction of solid foods apart from breast milk. After after the infant has grown an age of 4 months. The first, the second, the third, and the fourth month, the child is depending only on breast milk. Now, after the 4th month, you find that the mother starts introducing other soft foods to the child. Porridge, we might have porridge, we might have other milk from the cow and also other dairy animals. So that is what we call weaning, gradual introduction of solid foods to the child apart from breastfeeding. Weaning is a gradual introduction of solid foods in addition to the breast milk. You have understood that. We have to talk about the advantages of breast milk. Allow me to erase here so that we can talk about advantages of breast milk. I will narrate them here. Advantages. What are the importance of breast milk? What are these important or advantages of breast milk to the infant? 1, it is wholesome. 1, it is wholesome. Number 2, the second important is that has colostrum. Has colostrum. Number 3, it is free from disease causing organisms. It is free from disease causing organisms. Number 4, do not cause allergies. Do not cause allergies. Next, strengthens the mother to child bond. 5, strengthens mother to child bond. We also have contains enough water and sugar. Contains enough water and sugar. This breast milk is very important. Is convenient. Is also convenient. Convenient. Now, these are some of the importance of breast milk. When we compare breast milk and bottle feeding, when you are feeding your infant with a bottle, we have bottles or cups, you can feed them instead of breast milk. So there are differences. Whoever is feeding with breast milk has these advantages. These are the importance of breast milk of the mother to the infant. Now, when we talk about it is wholesome, what do we mean? When we say it is wholesome, it means that the breast milk has all the nutrients that are required by the infant. All the nutrients from the mother, the proteins, the carbohydrates, the vitamins, the iron, the calcium, and the magnesium, all the required nutrients are in the breast milk. That is the meaning of wholesome. It is wholesome to mean it has all the required nutrients by an infant. Number 2, we say it has colostrum. What is colostrum? The colostrum is the yellowish milk that is produced by the lactating mother. Immediately the child is born, you find that the first milk that is produced is not whitish in color, it is yellowish. That is what we call colostrum. And colostrum is very important to an infant. In which way? It is very important in that it strengthens the immunity of an infant. The colostrum strengthens the immunity, the body immunity of an infant. When you talk of the immunity means the body becomes strong and resistant to diseases. The body of an infant becomes strong and resistant to different diseases. You find that the child is very strong and cannot contract any disease, malaria, typhoid, tuberculosis, all those diseases. The body naturally becomes strong because of that colostrum. Number 3, we say breast milk is free from disease-causing germs. You find that an infant directly sucks milk from the breasts. It does not go maybe outside. When the child starts suckling, you find that it just from the mothers directly into the mouth, and it is free from disease-causing microorganisms like bacteria and viruses. Number 4, we find that the breast milk do not cause allergies. You find that when you use other feeds, solid feeds, it might be contaminated, and you find that the child is sneezing, is coughing, and also having different allergies to different perfumes because of maybe the child used bottled foods. Number 5, strengthens mother to child bond. You find that the child recognizes that this is my mother. You find that when the mother goes away, the child starts crying because the child recognizes in early stages that this person is very important. So you find that the child knows the mother, and that parental care, that parental love, you find that is there because the child is directly suckling from the mother. Then we have number 6, it contains enough water and sugar. The sugar and water that is in the breast milk is enough to the infant. Now lastly, it is convenient. What do we mean when we say breast milk is convenient? It means that it is readily available when it is needed by an infant. The moment an infant feels hungry, the mother is there ready. You cannot say that let us go and warm. Bring the stove, bring the sufuria, let us have the cup, wash the cup. No, nothing like that. The milk, breast milk is readily available. The moment, even at night, the child can wake up and start suckling the milk. It is available, so it is convenient. Okay, those are now the advantages of breast milk. Now, let us talk about the advantages of bottled feeding. Advantages of bottle feeding. Advantages of bottle feeding. Now we have talked about breast milk, that is breastfeeding. Advantages. Advantages of bottle feeding. You will find that also bottle feeding. Now, apart, we have talked about various advantages of breast milk. So, bottle feeding means you are feeding the infant with a bottle. You might take milk or porridge, put it in the bottle, then you start feeding the child. Now, what are some of the advantages of feeding your baby with bottle feeding? Number 1, we say one can feed on the baby when the mother is away. One can feed the baby when the mother is away. One can feed a baby when the mother is away. One can feed a baby when the mother has little or no milk. Number 3, children born with HIV infected mothers. Children born with HIV/AIDS infected mothers can be fed with bottles. Okay, now advantages of bottle feeding. Bottle feeding, although it has also its demerits, but it is also important. These are some of its important of bottle feeding. One, we say one can feed the baby when the mother is away. Rice, maybe the mother is working very far away and an emergency arises. Maybe you are in Nairobi and you are supposed to go and work in Mombasa, very fast, emergency. You find that the mother can leave the baby and the baby can be fed by another person with the bottle. So that is one of the important. Number two, we say one can feed a baby when the mother has little milk or has no milk. You understand, we are human beings, we might have hormonal differences. You find out that one mother is giving out 2 liters of breast milk, another one is giving 1 liter, another one is giving a quarter a liter, and another one has none. So you find that also these mothers don't give the same amount according to their hormonal differences. They have different hormones. You find that they produce a different amount of milk. So if the mother is producing little milk, not enough to the infant, you can supply also the infant with bottle foods. So, or if the mother has no milk, completely no milk, the baby can be fed with the bottle. And number 3, children born with HIV/AIDS infected mothers can be bottle fed. Now this means that when you have safely given birth, the mother is HIV infected and has safely given birth a child, the child should not feed directly from the mother because the child might be infected with the disease HIV. So immediately the mother gives birth, you find that that baby is advised to be bottle feeded, so that the child can grow healthy without the virus. So these are the 3 advantages of bottle feeding. Now lastly, what are some of the disadvantages? These are advantages. Now let us talk about the disadvantages of bottle feeding, and that will be the last part of it. Disadvantages of bottle feeding. Disadvantages of bottle feeding. Demerits. What are the disadvantages of bottle feeding? Disadvantages, 1, it might lack some nutrients. Correct. This bottle feeding, the food you are giving to your baby might lack some nutrients. Number 2, it lacks colostrum. It lacks colostrum. Number 3, it is inconvenient. It is inconvenient. And number 4, might be contaminated. It might be contaminated. It might be contaminated, and then the child might develop allergies. The child might develop allergies. We also have water and sugar have to be added. Not easily digested. Water and sugar have to be added. Okay, now these are the disadvantages of bottle feeding. One, we say that might lack some nutrients. You find that we said breastfeeding, breast milk has all the required nutrients at the correct amount and temperature. But here we say that this bottled milk might lack some of the nutrients. You find that you have supplied food, maybe it is having minerals, but it's lacking carbohydrates. It might be having proteins and lacking iron. So some of the nutrients might lack there because it is not that way balanced. Number two, we say bottle feeding lacks colostrum. That first yellow milk is not easily found unless it is only found in the mother's breast milk. So the colostrum, we said this one is the yellowish first milk that's given by the mother, and it improves the immunity of the baby. The baby have strong immunity, to mean the body is resistant to several diseases. Okay, number three, we say it is inconvenient. Inconvenient means that this bottle feeding is not readily available. Now it means when the child needs it, you have to go and look for it. Maybe the child is crying, is hungry now, you go in town to purchase, the time you come back, the child is suffering a lot. Maybe it is at night, you have to wake up, put on your stove and start cooking, maybe. So it is not readily available, unlike the breast milk. Number four, might be contaminated. You find you are carrying it, you transported, maybe it is milk directly from a cow which has several ailments, so it might also be contaminated and transmit diseases to the infant. Number five, we say the child might develop allergies. We have several allergies that is developed due to different foods according to how you have supplied the bottled foods. Now six, it is not easily digested. We said that the breast milk is easily digested because the digestive system or the alimentary canal of the infant is not that way complicated like the mature person. So it is simple. So the breast milk is easily digested in that system, unlike the bottle feeding. These feeds are not easily digested by the alimentary canal of an infant. Now lastly, we say water and sugar have to be added so that it can feel the nutritive value of that feeds. It should be added, sugar and water. Unlike the breast milk, sugar and water is already there in optimum amount. Now to that point, that is the end of our lesson today, and next time I come in, we will talk about people suffering from HIV. That is another group of special people. Thank you very much.